Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well and having a great Wednesday night or Thursday morning. Today's topic will be severe weather once again, and so we'll start off with the Wednesday night severe weather outlook here. And so as you can see, we have two slight risks, one into a small section of the East Coast and then one kind of into the north central U.S. and then a marginal risk out here into Oregon and Idaho. And so the main risk for the rest of the night will be wind, especially with that 10% significant wind risk into Nebraska and South Dakota, and then a little bit of a hail risk and no tornado risk for tonight. And then as you get into tomorrow on Thursday, you have two slight risks once again, one into the central U.S. and one into the southeast into the Carolinas and Georgia, and then a large marginal risk around that for severe weather. And so the main risk for tomorrow will be the wind risk along with a hail risk into the north central U.S. and then up here into the northeast, along with a small tornado risk into the central U.S., specifically into Nebraska and Iowa for tomorrow on Thursday. And then looking at our day 3 outlook on Friday, we have another slight risk here into portions of the Midwest, and then two large marginal risk here, one into the central U.S. and the other into the eastern seaboard. And once again, the main threat for this day should be damaging winds. Focusing on tonight into tomorrow on Thursday across the north central U.S. And so looking here, you could see a line of storms making its way through into Nebraska, Iowa later tonight into early tomorrow morning, maybe by 1 or 2 a.m. Central Daylight Time. And so these storms will have the potential to produce damaging winds for sure. And then by tomorrow morning, it kind of starts the weekend as it gets into Minnesota and eastern Iowa. But really by about tomorrow afternoon, you could see some more storms start to develop here, especially into Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa. And once again, there will be a little bit of a tornado risk with these storms later on into the evening. But still, there will be a hail and wind risk with these storms. And then getting into even late Thursday night into early on Friday, the storm should begin to kind of move out, and then you could have another batch start to move through once again. Just quickly looking at Friday, you could probably see another wind event across some of these areas, especially with maybe this kind of storm system or leftover energy along with a trough kind of promoting this severe weather event. So this could definitely be a little bit more organized for sure, primarily probably across, I would say, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, kind of into those areas. Might be a little bit more organized as you get into Friday. So we'll continue to watch that for Friday's event. But now if we look at the southeastern U.S. for the rest of the night tonight into tomorrow on Thursday, so you're going to still have plenty of storm coverage out here into the mid-Atlantic, and then as you get further into the night, you have those storms dissipate, and then getting into tomorrow on Thursday, could have some more storms beginning to form out here into the Carolinas, and that will bring us to our wind threat probably later tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours, along with plenty of other storms into Georgia as well, and into portions of the deep south, and then even into some parts of the northeast tomorrow on Thursday. You could see some storms really into maybe Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York. And then as you get into Friday, still on the HRRR here, you'll have our threat up here with severe weather once again, but then you'll have that other marginal risk for the eastern U.S. On Friday as well, and that will be just once again probably kind of another wind event for some of these areas, just your average summer like thunderstorms across much of these areas here into the eastern U.S. for Friday. Now looking at our temperature outlooks here, and so for our 6 to 10 day outlook, we actually have a pretty decently large area of below average temperatures expected into the central U.S., so that's good for sure, but we do have above average temperatures expected for the next 6 to 10 days into the northwestern and northeastern U.S., along kind of into the southeast and portions of the kind of south central U.S. A little bit there, mostly the deep south, but still into those areas. Mostly the central U.S. will be below average for the next 6 to 10 days. And then if we look at our 8 to 14 day outlook, we actually could see a little bit more relief here for our temperatures, and so it looks like we'll have potentially below average temperatures into the Midwest, central U.S., into kind of portions of the southwestern U.S., mostly the central, south central U.S., but still above average temperatures, expected into the northwestern U.S., and then kind of into some of the more isolated areas into New England, portions of the Northeast, the Florida Peninsula, and south central U.S. there for the next 8 to 10 days. Then for the 3 to 4 week outlook, still quite a bit of above average temperatures expected across the U.S. I don't really take a look at this too much because really 3 to 4 weeks out is getting pretty far out by that range. So a lot can change in between now and then. So just take this with a grain of salt right now, but still above average temperatures are expected for the next 3 to 4 week range as you kind of get later into July. So that'll be it for tonight's update. The last thing we'll look at is the 7-day tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center, and nothing is expected at this time to develop, so that is good for sure. So we'll continue to watch watch the tropics and see how things play out, especially once we get further into July and early August. But once again, nothing is expected at this time. I do appreciate all of y'all watching, and I hope y'all have a great week.